All right. So let's go ahead and get started and let's see what's happening in the crypto market for today. We've got the coin market cap is at 265 billion. That's down 5 billion since yesterday, down 2.3%. Bitcoin dominance is still above 70%, which meant that money was lost in the altcoins. Bitcoin is at $10,400, down 1.3% last 24 hours. Ethereum down 2.5, Ripple 1.5, Bitcoin Cash 2, Litecoin 2.9, EOS 3.4. So the altcoins took a hit last 24 hours, kind of stabilized after that huge jump. I still believe the thing's going to drop below $8,000 at least one more time, at least. Let's see the fact. Let's go about the news article that talks about that. Let me see if I pull the right one up. Yeah, here we go here. Someone else says, crypto analyst calls for caution. Says Bitcoin downside now at $6,000. So this guy says it's going to drop to 6,000. I say the bottom maybe 7,500, 7,000. A popular crypto analyst says Bitcoin's downside potential is shifting. After 2 months of consolidation, Johnny Mo tells his 16,000 followers on Twitter that Bitcoin may still sink as low as $6,000 in its current market cycle. And it is a cycle. You know, you have to understand that not everything is always just going up. You got if you look at the history of Bitcoin from the very beginning and watch the charts, it's all works and moves in cycles. That's why it is very, very important that you also learn how to read the charts. Now, it's not always 100% accurate, but the charts never lie. That one thing is true. And being able to understand the history of it and why things happened the way they did will help you to be prepared for the future, for things to come. The only things that are the unknown factors is when like BACT comes on, or when the CME and the CBOE, Chicago Mercantile Exchange, and the institutional investors come in. You really can't predict what's going to happen when those come on place. So update, still anticipating return to the parabolic trend. Previously had $5,500 on this chart, assuming a quicker return to mean. Since we've consolidated sideways for about 2 months, downside is more like $6,000 now. 6,000. They're talking about losing 4,400 in the market for Bitcoin. Fellow analyst Crypto Cred tells his group of 139,000 Twitter followers that Bitcoin's bold move well beyond 10,000 without hitting resistance may indicate Bitcoin just climbed out of a bear trap. $10,000 level that was broken support failed to provide resistance when retested. This is usually evidence of a trap. Bearish continuation sellers on the SNR flip caught offside. HTF directional bias favors upside. Clearing 10,460's intraday range high would cement that. Let's see, last quote from him is, my computer's moving slow. Veteran trader Tony Vase, who has predicted Bitcoin will likely end up below 10,000 by the end of the year. Oh, I hope so. Says he's bullish in the short term. If the leading crypto can crack 11,000, Vase says it could target new yearly highs. The weekly chart remains neutral to me. The daily chart remains bullish. I'm still anticipating lower prices sometime this year. I agree. This may no longer be the case if we break the top of the triangle. As long as we are in this triangle, this is what I'm expecting. It's no different than what was happening at the end of the last year when we were making the descending triangle with 6,000 as the floor. Now we're making the descending triangle with 9,000 as the floor. Have I been bullish this past week? Yes. Ever since we fell down to the low 9,000s, I became bullish. I thought 10,000 would be some resistance, taking us back to the 9,000 area, and then we would approach 11,000. We're approaching it a little earlier, which is fine. The daily chart is still screaming bullish. To me, if we can break this $11,000 zone, then you can start considering potential new highs for the year. But until we break 11K, this is only a move back up into our resistance zone. I don't have my Poloniex up so I can read it in a little bit more detail. But I don't know. I can't give an opinion where I think this is going to go over the next week. So I'm going to have to hold that. Tomorrow morning, I'll make sure I have my Poloniex chart up so I can look at the charts for myself. Education is key. Education is everything. Don't just listen to what some experts are saying. Have the knowledge to be able to look at it yourself and come up with your own conclusion, and then you can compare it to what other experts say and see if you guys kind of match. I didn't do that this morning, so I can't tell. And if I were to pull it up now, it would take forever to load, so I can't do it. All right, let's go on to the next article. NASA engineer and Virgin Galactic instructor says the world needs global tools like Bitcoin. So if you're still when Thanksgiving comes up and you got your broke uncle at the table telling you that Bitcoin is a scam, or your cousin Pookie or Bubba on the corners talking about that Bitcoin thing ain't nothing, that cash is king. What about what a former NASA engineer? I mean, these guys are one of the smartest people on the planet. What do they have to say? Virgin Galactic instructor says the world needs global tools like Bitcoin. He didn't say wants. He said needs. Okay? I pay close attention to language. Former NASA engineer and Bitcoin advocate Beth Moses says, oh, I'm sorry, I keep saying this is a she. You know, the smartest people in NASA have been women. Did you guys know that? The brightest brains, the smartest people ever to walk the halls of NASA have been women. So former NASA engineer and Bitcoin advocate Beth Moses says she got a bird's eye view of humanity from outer space when she became the world's first woman commercial astronaut earlier this year. Part of a 3-person flight crew or flight team, Moses soared 55.87 miles into orbit as a test passenger aboard Virgin Galactic's second spaceflight on February 22nd. An early proponent of Bitcoin, she began mining BTC after she read Satoshi Nakamoto's white paper in 2013. So she figured this out a full 3.5 years before I did. As Virgin Galactic's chief astronaut instructor and interiors program manager, Moses believes global tools can solve critical problems. Now, if you are an entrepreneur, they say if you ever want to be able to be a successful entrepreneur, you've got to sell a product that solves people's problems. And when you do that, you're not selling your product, you're selling a solution to a problem. And when you highlight that, it doesn't matter what you're selling. All that matters is you have a solution to somebody's problem. Think about it like this. If you're selling a drill that makes holes, then your marketing and advertising is not that you have a drill. Your marketing and advertising is that you have a solution to somebody who wants to dig a hole. I'm getting off track on this. That's a whole nother training, but just wanted to highlight something. When you are able to solve somebody's problem with whatever product it is you're selling, you will be successful. Well, what is it that Bitcoin is doing? blockchain is doing. It is solving the world's biggest problems. I'm not talking about, crime or hunger, but in essence, it can. I got an article from Barbara I'm going to cover. I'm sorry, from Pat that I'm going to cover about that in a second. So let's see here. Moses, she says, humanity has reached a point where important projects have to be global in order to survive political cycles and in order to be able to be funded. I saw the original Bitcoin blockchain as evidence of a global tool that could give a point of reference for data keeping and a transfer of value. It is the same ledger reference to the same Genesis block, no matter where you are, and that struck me as a global tool. Just like every GPS system uses the same latitude and longitude 0. I'm just reading this quote. What did Earth look like from space? Our chief astronaut has been blah, blah, blah. Okay. Moses released footage from her voyage at the Blockchain Summit event hosted by Richard Branson on Necker Island. I haven't heard of Necker Island in a while. Did you guys know? Every year, Richard Branson holds a blockchain summit, private, for billionaires and millionaires in the tech community on his private island, Necker Island. Not like Epstein's private island, but this is one about Bitcoin and blockchain. Invite only. Crypto supporter and founder of the Virgin Group, Branson is investing in blockchain developers here on Earth to manifest the global tools required to transform the financial system. The British billionaire is a backer of blockchains, the Pit, a cryptocurrency exchange that aims to rival Coinbase, the largest Bitcoin trading platform in the US. Okay, I want to keep an eye on that. Anything that's a competitor to Coinbase. The Pit, I never heard of that before. According to a report by CNBC, blockchain says its new turbocharged exchange can outperform Coinbase and Binance by executing lightning-fast buy or sell orders in 40 to 50 microseconds. Really? An order of magnitude faster than other market players. The Pit is led by a team of Wall Street veterans and techies from the New York Stock Exchange, TD Ameritrade, Google, and Goldman Sachs. Stop right there again. Who are you going to listen to? Your Facebook buddy that's worked a 9-to-5 job for 30 years and knows nothing else? Or are you going to listen to people who, techies from the New York Stock Exchange, TD Ameritrade, Google, and Goldman Sachs? Available in over 200 countries, it allows users to link their bank accounts with blockchain to convert US dollars, euros, and sterling for crypto. Oh, I got to look that up. The Pit. In addition to Branson, Alphabet venture arm GV and early Spotify backer Lakestar contributed to the $70 million funding round in July. So this is brand new. That's why I haven't heard of this. Brand new. See, this is the type of stuff. I'm gonna sidebar for a second, and this is gonna be some free information. You'll get more of this if you're a member of Economics, which, by the way, you can sign up for free right now. So make sure you go back to whoever invited you to listen to me. If you are not a member of Economics, but you're in the crypto space, wow. That's all I'm going to say. The gig economy, the digital economy, we have no rival. We are the only game in town. And it's free to get your account right now. Just get back to whoever invited you or shoot me a message and we'll get you the link. However, I got a sidebar on this. One of my long-term strategies, here's my ultimate, remember I said rule number 4, where do you see yourself in 3 months, 6 months, a year from now? 3 years, 5 years. What are you willing to do to make that happen? Here's my long-term goal. And you always set a long-term goal so that you can start to work backwards. How do you become a billionaire? or a multi millionaire, which every single one of you can do because you're positioned in the fastest growing and the biggest financial revolution the planet has ever seen. So it is possible. But how do you do it? It's not by savings or trying to stack as much Bitcoin as you possibly can. How you do it is you got to do exactly what the big boys are doing right now. There's steps you need to take. You need to, first and foremost, be earning enough money that's going to pay all your bills and living expenses. That's what 90% of Americans are struggling to do every day because they're living paycheck to paycheck. The second thing you must do is to be able to earn more money after that, on top of that, that you now can start to use to invest and let that money work for you so that eventually that money will be able to take over and supply step one. So now your money is allowing you to pay all of your bills without you needing a 9-to-5 job or to do any physical labor. Whether you get up out of bed or not, it's like clockwork. You've got money coming in without having to leverage other people. Okay, that's phase 2. Phase 3 now is to be able to have enough money coming in of excess that you then can now use to invest in projects and companies in the blockchain space. So if you go back to the 90s and you remember the dot-com era, what would your life be like today if you had $150,000 to invest in Amazon, or $150,000 to invest in Google, or $250,000 to invest in Alibaba, or Microsoft and Apple? Some companies that just got started and you didn't know, they weren't big yet, but you had the seed capital to say, oh, well, they're having some investment round. I'm going to drop $250,000 in on it. What do you think that looks like 10 years later? Your $250,000 investment is now worth $100 million and growing. Serena Williams, her husband is the co-founder of Reddit. He taught her something. In 2014, she created her own personal investment fund. And I think she started with 10 million. It was a company. And she takes that 10 million and she puts that 10 million and invests it in different companies in the fintech sector. So it's not like she puts all 10 million in one company. She might put $250,000 here, 50,000 there, 300,000 there, and they all aren't going to succeed. But what if just out of 15 to 20 of them she invests in, 3 of them do? And that $1 million that she invested now turns into 75 million, into $500 million. You see where I'm going with this? So my long-term strategy, and it's not that long-term because I just need to get the resources to make it happen, is to be in that stage 3, the ability to have $250,000 when all of a sudden I get wind of something like The Pit that launched in July, and they had a $70 million funding round. 70 million. So those people that invested 70 million have a huge stake in The Pit. What's going to happen when the company is now worth 15 to 20 billion? And you was one of those that dropped $250,000 in it in July of this year. This is the type of stuff is my long-term goal. This is why I go to blockchain expos, to see the type of technology that's coming, and so I can do research on what new businesses are going to create an idea or a business in that space, so that when I have the resources to drop $500,000 on something, I've made the contacts and I know where to go. That's privileged information I just shared right now on my inner thinkings long term, how to get to billionaire status. All right. And I read that part. Oh, okay. That's the whole article there. So I need to look up The Pit to use their services. Wish I was able to be in position back in July to be part of this $1 million funding, but it looks like this was a private thing. So everybody in Necker Island is in on it. So very interesting. I hope you learned something from that. This is a very important article right here. Okay, last up, I got this article from Pat Davis. What can blockchain really do for the food industry? So I've been saying it since I first came into crypto. When I did my own education, there was no economics around that could teach me. I had to figure it out on my own. One thing that I learned is that the blockchain technology is going to disrupt every single industry on the planet today. Nothing is going to left unscathed. Here's an example of the blockchain disrupting the food industry. Do you think that is just a fad that's going to go anywhere? No. So how can this, what can it do for the food industry? Blockchain technology could transform the entire, okay, again, I look at wording here. Not part of, not some of, not maybe. It's gonna transform the entire food industry. Some bullish tech prospectors say by increasing efficiency, transparency, and collaboration throughout the food system, consumers could be able to trace the source of their lettuce in seconds. Shippers could see if a truck is full before they schedule a delivery. Grocery stores could verify if a carton of eggs is actually cage-free. Or could they? As blockchain gets closer to its marketplace debut in the food system, it's important to scrutinize just how the technology will actually work. Blockchain was initially developed as part of the cryptocurrency Bitcoin, but the technology in the cryptocurrency is different from how it's the food space. Bitcoin's blockchain is an immutable digital ledger that works through a consensus of computer systems. Computers on the Bitcoin blockchain are essentially using to correctly solve a allocation, and when one wins the race, a bit of cryptocurrency and a block of data is added to chain. The humans of the system on blockchain are why there's huge energy costs associated with Bitcoin. A feature that would be detrimental in the agricultural space, where farmers needs to grow more and use less. In the Walmart IBM blockchain that made news this past week, what? I did not hear about that. This is what I'm talking about. I do at least one crypto talk a day and I still miss stuff. Walmart IBM blockchain that made news this past week. The system is far more limited in scale. It's only open to those in Walmart's leafy green food supply chain, which will likely translate into others, not tens of thousands. As a result, there are fewer with fewer verification nodes, and most importantly, far less energy expended overall. The IBM system also isn't trustless because its members are known to each other in the supply chain. Well, this is the first step. It's the first step. This is where just a digital ledger. A digitized whatever it is, no verify the underlying data itself. The other group data is actually there's no aspect of blockchain technology that can make sure that the cage-free egg is really cage-free, that is actually free from contamination. For Walmart, the technology will be used to tell stakeholders that a particular head of lettuce came from a particular harvest on a particular farm. So if a consumer gets sick, government investigators will have investigation. They sort of less than seconds, and labels people. Though blockchain is touted as the technology to solve all agriculture's challenges, it's not necessarily clear. Much better than in the form you don't use. You can't get that. It's not control, but that's fine. Companies build data other than build blockchain. Particularly some of the adopters of the Bitcoin to last verification are future. So yeah, they're going to have companies called, but they want universal. They're all going to be using this. Tim Judd says, "Is this a rebroadcast? Who's the speaker?" No, it's not a rebroadcast. The speaker is me, Bitcoin Brandon Ivey, live at, what time is it? 9:06 a.m. Pacific time. Am I that good? It sounds like a rebroadcast. Oh, wow. What's going on, Tim? Haven't seen your name in a while. No, this is not a rebroadcast. For blockchain, you missed. I gave it to my thought process, my long-term goal in the crypto space. my path on how to become a billionaire. Don't share it often, but I did. So if you came on late, you didn't hear it, you want to go back to the beginning. So let me continue. Where blockchain starts to reach its potential is when it's used with other technologies and systems at the same time that the blockchain is implemented for food traceability. For example, producers can also put into place systems like enhanced water testing mechanisms or increased buffer zones between leafy green growers and livestock operations. When used with sensors and precision delivery systems for pesticide and water, all connected to a network, as with the Internet of Things, blockchain can be used to gather a wealth of data and employ it in the field. While blockchain can't verify that an egg operation is truly cage-free, or what that cage-free operation really looks like, it might offer a way for farmers to get more information to consumers. Farmers, particularly the ones who don't sell their food to a farmer's market or get an opportunity to interact with consumers, often struggle with how to engage with the public, looking for ways to explain how and why they grow food the way they do. Blockchain enables farmers to get data to consumers, but what if it could provide more context as well? That's the thing consumers really need to make informed decisions about their food. You know how, here's what's going to happen. You're going to start seeing this. You go to the grocery store now, you'll see things that say GMO friendly or naturally grown or, labels. You're going to start seeing items that say food tracked by the blockchain or blockchain approved or 100% blockchain or whatever they're going to call it. And they're going to use that as a way to know that, hey, your food is safe and you can track it all the way from the beginning. So you might as well buy our food that you know can be tracked and is safe than something that you don't know where it's coming from. You just know it came somewhere from China. So blockchain could be used to tell consumers that the corn was grown with herbicide, for example, but maybe someday there could be a mechanism for explaining why that herbicide is used, or a comparison of that herbicide to other weed prevention systems or removal methods. The complicated nature of agriculture doesn't always translate so well to a smartphone app. But then again, that might be a challenge that's too big for blockchain to solve anyway. No, it's not. No, it's not. See, imagine this. Right now, we go to the grocery store. We've got to rely on what those items tell us. The markings on the bottles and the cans. FDA approved. Why? Because you said so? With the blockchain, we can verify it ourselves just by pulling out our phone and looking it up. That's what's going to happen. That's what it's going to look like in the future. And stores, they'll say, we're not going to take any items that's not verified through the blockchain. That's the future, ladies and gentlemen. So that is it. I started Crypto Talk about 30 minutes early today. I got a lot to do. We just launched economics on Ripple One. Economics, what is economics? Economics is the ability to learn all about the new gig economy, the digital economy. It's here. The revolution is upon us, whether you like it or not, and most people have no idea what it's about. We want to be here to teach you so you can learn everything you need to know so that you can move in this space safely and securely with knowledge and information. You can sign up for free. We have, 20-something free videos right now. When we move into the next couple of phases, you'll be able to see the packages to purchase our education material. We're the only game in town. There is nobody doing what we do, and we're worldwide. Our goal is to have more than 1 million subscribers and become influencers with economics. And you have an opportunity to be here at the beginning of this. Whoever invites you to here, what is that going to do? How's that going to hurt you? Check out for information. It should be happening next week. A lot of it happens this week. And I'll push back to next week. You're going to hear more information. You become an influencer with us and start your education starting today. Shoot me a message if you are not already in the system and you don't know who to talk to. Have a great day, everybody. I actually recorded this as well. Not only will it be on Facebook, but YouTube. I did share something. I share once or twice this year. My long-term strategy. Crypto, all these once a day. What I'm preparing for. More than those. I'm going to start getting a list of that. I will be back tonight. So I will talk on this article here. See if it can pull up for me. Why the birth of Bitcoin can be traced back to 1971. So what time will I do this at? 1 to 6, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. I will be back. I'll do a Facebook Live just on this article. Why the birth of Bitcoin can be traced back to 1971. And you know what I will do as well? One more time, I will share what I did earlier about my long-term strategy in the crypto space for my family. I did a Facebook Live a week ago with the camera on, and I explained in detail that right now you are one decision away and you only have 24 months of taking action that will change your entire family tree for the next 100 years, depending on what you do now. So I'm going to share again tonight a little bit about my long-term strategy and the road to get there. That's important too. How do I get there, Brandon? I'm going to talk about that. All right, have a great day, everybody. Be productive. Bitcoin Brandon out. God bless. Bye-bye.